Hey, this is Notser, and we are in the Tenryu. This is a particular ship that is, of course, tier 3 in nature, but the game itself is pretty entertaining, so that's why I'm sharing it. Now, this is a part of when I was going down the line for the Japanese cruisers. And the Japanese cruiser line is one of those lines that's a very solid line for any newbie to pick up and play if you're interested in checking out the cruiser. Honestly, I think you should try at least the cruiser, the destroyer, the battleship, and even the aircraft carrier to some extent to get an idea of what you're about to go up against. And you can transition that easily to completing the Japanese cruiser line. Now, what is the trait of the Japanese cruiser line? In general, I would say a pretty exceptional HE shell. The ability to use torpedoes pretty consistently at an extended range compared to everyone else, and pretty nimble, quite honestly. They're right on the edge of being destroyer level of nimble. In fact, the early cruisers basically double, and oh, we got a torpedo strike on the tier 2 destroyer. So we got a couple 140s. You know, it's the standard build that you would expect. You can't really deviate that much this early on. You're just looking to use your guns to your most effective stance. Try and use AP against a broadside target. Use HE against everything else. Send torpedoes as often as I can. And try and hit the shots. Hit the shots, Notser. Now, there is an island that is coming up rapidly. And I believe I'm turning directly into it. So I'm going to try and adjust that. I don't know why this is such a hard thing. I always think I'm going to finish the target with plenty of time to adjust. At least that's what I do in my mind, I think. But clearly, I never give myself the necessary out that would reduce the damage taken. I believe so strongly in my ability that it costs me health on my ship, maybe my life itself, and thankfully these guys, they don't really have ships that can one-shot me. Now, maybe a battleship, but not these guys. So I'm going to send my torpedoes again. This really is just an oversized destroyer. It's got pretty good range, 7 kilometers. It's got 4 guns total, but they are 140. They're impressive in their own right. And it's pretty nimble. So yeah, treat it like any other destroyer. You send out your torpedoes trying to, hopefully they won't expect it. It is low tier, so they probably don't. They probably don't. Take the Dresden out. And just go from there. Same exact ship. Oh, he got torpedoes, but he did not have the range of torpedoes that I had. And the rearm is pretty fair. It's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. I played World of Tanks before, but I never had fun going back and playing low tier, quite like I have fun going back and playing low tier in World of Warships, because the low tier in World of Warships, you still can learn good techniques that you can apply at high tier. Now, the overall skill might be lower, for sure, and I think that's fair, but you still have to apply angling, you still look to fire on targets, you still try and take out enemy destroyers. They are starting to formulate their playstyle. So it works out. We ended up taking out that target. Enemy G101 is engaged in a friendly cruiser battle over by B, and I'm going to try and capture C. Most of the enemy, in fact 99% of the enemy, is over by A point. That's pretty far away. And we will be heading there. Oh, we will be heading there. I can't wait to fight the enemy. So, do you do these revisits? Would you like me to? Well, okay. Here. Let's start it off first. Do you enjoy seeing the ship lines in a streaming format? Do you want me to try and bring that over to YouTube and cover the ships, maybe in a bite-sized chunk, like maybe make a video or two, you know, the first half, the second half, how does it play as of right now? Some of these games aren't as exciting as this, you know, they're not as close. Ooh, that was pretty slick. We got pretty lucky taking that guy out before he dropped off detection. But Does it help you understand? I don't know how many people are actively seeking another line to go down. I just don't know that. For me, whenever I played World of Tanks or World of Warships or whatever, I tried to play my first one a day in every single line and then decide from there if I want to continue getting another win in a particular ship line or just log off for the day. I know people don't have as much time as I do, but we all have a different form. You know what? Some people like to just play a single line all the way to tier 10. Others, not so much. So I'm just curious if maybe doing a summary of the ships as we play them on Sunday later in the week is helpful for you in the future if you come back and say, hey, I want to see how the Japanese cruiser line is at the time of 6.4 or whatever. Now we've got to deal with probably the slowest ship in the fleet, and he's got torpedoes, but we're nimble enough to dodge out of the way. He certainly is not nimble enough to dodge out of my torpedoes, but I don't think I really have a chance to kill him with the torpedoes. I'm going to send against the destroyer, and hopefully he doesn't read it. Most players at this tier just, oh, he's just pausing for a second to line up a shot. There could never be a potential torpedo hit. No, not at all, and he's so lucky he's able to avoid it. Just barely able to avoid the torpedoes, but he can't avoid these guns, and it does seem like he wants to send torpedoes both his port side and his starboard side. I believe he does have starboard and port. So Samson is the tier 2? Yeah, this is the tier 2. And Kraken. Wow, it's a Kraken. You know, it's not... Obviously, I'm extremely skilled. A lot of these players are learning classes for the very first time. Oh, Samson! Oh, please don't touch me. Okay. Thankfully, most things don't have range. Most things don't have range at all. But, you know, enemy is still hanging out by A. 4 or 5 ships. And dummy me thinking, oh, I can take them. No big deal. It's going to be a big deal. Don't do what I'm about to do. Don't go in 1 versus 4. I don't care how good you are. Isolated, absolutely 1 versus 1. If you employ all the techniques that I make use of and other community contributors and even yourself, you should be able to take on 1v1. But 1v4, 1v3, no. I don't care how good you are. You're not good enough. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this down the line. It's not an original idea, for sure, but I don't really see people do that in World of Warships, and I think it's helpful for those who are trying to pick up the game and understand, you know, what's viable, even when they make sweeping changes to something like the Japanese destroyers. We have to sort of reevaluate exactly how effective they can be out on the ocean. And some people can reevaluate without having input from someone else. And I'm someone who's... I hope that I can 1v1 every single person in every single game. That's my goal. I've always strived to have the knowledge and the reflexes, the equipment, in order to do that. Obviously, that doesn't happen all the time. But beyond that, if you have knowledge, you are already far ahead of a lot of players in any game, but in World of Warships especially, if you know exactly what you should expect. Like the St. Louis doesn't have torpedoes, or battleships have certain characteristics. Some battleships have the offset torpedoes or offset main guns, so you have to keep that in mind. Most, they have center aligned. This has center aligned, so the best thing you can do is try and bring to bear your larger caliber on average than something like the St. Louis. The St. Louis relies on just throwing a lot of lead. It's got smaller, on average, caliber guns, but detonation cannot be protected, and boy, is it fun and engaging. Suffice it to say, the stream really enjoyed that moment, and I enjoyed it too. You gotta laugh at yourself. You know, if you take this way too seriously. Oh, by the way, this guy's gonna grind up against me. Hey, bud. Don't die to a detonation. All right, take care, man. You can't get angry at that. If you get angry at that, it's gonna eat away at you. You played well, Notser. And this is going for anyone. You played well. Enjoy that. If you win, great. If you don't, no big deal. And that's what I try and take away from this. Now, hopefully my teammate can take out the St. Louis. In fact, I think he's actually still on fire. Yes, top right corner. We still have a dot on him. And I'm hoping... Oh, man, that was short. I'm hoping he dies to the dot, but clearly he put it out. Friendly is losing health rapidly, and he's not hitting any of these shots. I think the St. Louis is going to outplay him and take him out. It could be mutual. It's so close. Oh, 285. Hit the St. Louis, buddy. Here comes the St. Louis shots. Oh, I think he's going to hit one, maybe two. Oh, Mike. Oh. It hit him, but he's still alive. Okay. Nimble like a destroyer. No! He got him. Good job, St. Louis. Good job. Don't know that he's going to hit him with his shell. Yeah, he didn't hit him with a shell. Oh, don't you hate it? Don't you hate it? When someone is that close to dying. Oh, is he going to take torpedoes? I think he is. If they have range, of course. I think he's going to take two and die. Oh, yeah, he's dead. Good job. Good job. V25. Now, the enemy only has two left. That's St. Louis, who's very low. Very, very low. And then this St. Louis, who's right here. The St. Louis, by the way, was buffed in, what was it, 6.3 or 6.4. It got more range, which was interesting. I think they did it for the stealth fire issue, that some ships actually had worse range than their detectability. Obviously, that really wouldn't work well with the stealth fire changes. So they buffed a ship that was already, I think it was universally accepted to be one of the more outstanding cruisers at Tier 3. Not that Tier 3 is extremely competitive. I mean, nobody plays it in that regard. But it's still nice to have a platform that can really strike fear. Now, they take out the enemy St. Louis. It's 4 versus 1. We have 2 base captures. The remaining enemy St. Louis is about 200 or 300. And I was saying in chat, oh, there's no way this guy is going to stay in the area. He is clearly probably going to run away and just end the game. That's what most players end up doing, right? They run away because they're cowards. I'm a coward too, don't worry. That's what I would have done. Now, the St. Louis can't run. It's, for all intents and purposes, a battleship. It's very slow in that regard. And he's not running away. He's, in fact, a man. He's a saint. And he's moving forward aggressively towards my team. He intends to take them all on, one by one. So far, so good. And there you go. Good job, team. Enemy St. Louis defeated. But the game itself was fun. The ship is great. We earned Confederate. First Blood, Kraken Unleashed, well, we were destroyed, and 2 devastating strikes. 5 kills, 68,000 damage done. Base capture, obviously, super carry. But the Japanese cruiser is that quality. It's a solid pick. If you want to go down a line, go down the Japanese cruiser line. I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, we did 1,806 base XP. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. You know, most of it's HE. We did a little torpedo, a little AP. That's pretty good. I hope you enjoyed seeing this ship. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.